Ibrahim Traoré's special cell phone vibrated late into the night. The incoming message consisted of just 3 words: cancel the project. The sender was an old friend and diplomat at the Burkina Faso embassy in Paris, Hamidou Diallo. Traoré read the message with surprise. This short message referred to the project agreement that would be signed tomorrow, completely nationalizing Burkina Faso's gold mines. Why? Traoré wrote back. The answer came immediately: can't talk on the phone. French intelligence is monitoring the lines. But I'll tell you a name: Operation Mirage. A trap will be set tomorrow. Be careful. Traoré read the message twice more. As he put the phone on the table, he thought about who would attend tomorrow's ceremony. How would he act surrounded by advisors he couldn't trust, without knowing who was working on the inside? He was alone in his office at the presidential palace. The clock showed 1:37 at night. Tomorrow, or rather today, at 10 o'clock, he would take one of the most important economic steps in Burkina Faso's history: the project to completely nationalize gold mines controlled by French companies. The agreement text was ready, press invitations had been made, and representatives from China, Russia, and other African countries would also attend the ceremony. Traoré opened his phone and carefully read Hamidou's messages again. Hamidou had been his friend since university and was one of his most trusted diplomats in France. If he saw a danger, it must be serious. Operation Mirage. Traoré murmured. This name meant nothing to him, but it was clearly the code name of a secret French operation. He thought he should call his security chief, but hesitated. What if the security chief was also part of the conspiracy? What if there were spies inside the palace? This nationalization project would deal a direct blow to French interests, and it would be naive to think that France would remain unresponsive. Traoré took a deep breath and called the 3 people he trusted most: Intelligence Chief Aminata Zerbo, Chief of Staff Oumar Sankara, and Security Advisor Captain Issouf Zongo. All 3 met in the secret meeting room at the presidential palace within 15 minutes. The reason you called us together at this hour must be serious, Ibrahim, said Aminata as soon as she entered the room. She was a woman in her 40s, with short hair and sharp eyes. She had been trained by the CIA but then chose to work for her own country's interests. Traoré nodded and showed the messages on his cell phone. From Hamidou. From Paris. He has concerns about tomorrow's project. The 3 advisors read the messages. Captain Zongo frowned. Operation Mirage. I've heard that name before. It's one of the DGSE's, French intelligence's, operations in West Africa. Are you sure? Asked Traoré. Not certain. But if it's true, it means a serious threat. Chief of Staff Oumar asked anxiously, what should we do? Should we cancel the program? Traoré looked out the window. The city of Ouagadougou was sleeping peacefully in the darkness of night. Burkina Faso flags were hung in the streets. Tomorrow, the whole country was preparing for a big celebration. No, said Traoré determinedly. We won't cancel. We'll just change the plans. He opened the large screen in the meeting room. Tomorrow's program is as follows: nationalization agreement signing ceremony at 10 o'clock, main hall of the presidential palace. Then, press conference at 11:30. Official lunch with invited guests at 1 p.m. We don't know where the trap will be set, said Aminata. But the most logical place would be in the most crowded area, the main hall. What is the trap? Asked Oumar. An assassination? A bomb? Or a coup attempt? That's what we need to find out, said Traoré. I'll call Hamidou again, but through a secure line. Captain Zongo pulled out his secure communication device. They can't monitor these lines. But still, talk carefully. Traoré called Hamidou. The phone rang 3 times, then was answered. Ibrahim? It's dangerous for you to call. I suspect my phone is being monitored. I'll talk quickly, Hamidou. What is Operation Mirage? What kind of trap? Hamidou's voice was tense. I don't know the full details. But last night, there was a secret meeting at the French Foreign Ministry. There were representatives from DGSE, CIA, and some private military companies. I couldn't hear the topic fully, but I heard the name. And they were talking about tomorrow's ceremony. Who's involved? Who's inside the palace? I don't know, Ibrahim. But someone in your palace security is giving them information. The ceremony order, security protocols, they know everything. I understand. Thank you, my friend. Be careful. You be more careful, Ibrahim. The French cannot accept losing the mines. Traoré hung up the phone and turned to his team. The situation is more serious than it appears. Someone inside the palace is working with them. What will we do? asked Aminata. "We will change all plans. Now." Throughout the night, the four of them prepared a new plan. They changed security protocols, the ceremony location, the participant list, and even the content of the president's speech. Only these four people would know the real plan. At 6 o'clock in the morning, preparations began at the presidential palace. The official program remained unchanged, but secret plans had been activated. At 8:30, Chief of Staff Umar made an announcement to the media. President Traoré has a slight illness. The ceremony will begin with a 1-hour delay, at 11 o'clock. Meanwhile, Intelligence Chief Aminata was subjecting everyone who would attend the ceremony to a detailed security check. Palace personnel, in particular, were being examined more strictly than usual. Captain Zongo had increased security measures around the palace. Snipers had been placed on roofs, and suspicious vehicles had been checked. At 10:30, guests began to be admitted to the hall. French Ambassador Jean-Marc Delacroix, American Ambassador Sarah Thompson, Chinese Representative Li Wei, Russian diplomat Sergei Petrov, and officials from various African countries were ready. The French ambassador approached ceremonies director Ahmed Kaboré. "Where is the president? Will the program start late?" Kaboré smiled. "The president will be here soon, Excellency. He has prepared a very special entrance today." At exactly 10:55, the doors of the Great Hall opened. Everyone was expecting Ibrahim Traoré to enter, but instead, a group of soldiers came in. Commander Sawadogo announced loudly, "Distinguished guests, for security reasons, the ceremony location has been changed. Please proceed with us to the garden in the eastern wing of the palace." French Ambassador Delacroix frowned and whispered to his American colleague Thompson, "This isn't normal. Why would the program change at the last minute?" Thompson shrugged, "Maybe just a security protocol." As the guests were being directed to the garden, escorted by soldiers, Delacroix took out his cell phone and quickly sent a message. The garden had been prepared for ceremonies. Tables and chairs had been arranged, and a podium had been placed. However, Ibrahim Traoré was still nowhere to be seen. At exactly 11 o'clock, 3 black cars entered through the back gate of the garden. Ibrahim Traoré got out of the middle car and walked briskly toward the podium. His security team was different from usual. None of the guards beside him were palace guards. They were all specially selected, trustworthy soldiers. Traoré began his speech, "Distinguished guests, my dear citizens. Today, we are opening a new page in the history of Burkina Faso. The gold in our lands will serve our own people." Just then, there was a commotion in the distant corner of the garden. Captain Zongo's team had caught a man disguised as a waiter. A gun was found on him. The incident was resolved without the guests noticing. Traoré continued his speech. "French companies have exploited our resources for years. That era is now closing. With the agreement we will sign today, all our gold mines will come under the control of the state of Burkina Faso." As the crowd applauded, French Ambassador Delacroix's face was grim. He was looking at his phone, appearing nervous. Traoré signed the agreement text. This was a symbolic gesture. The actual agreement had already been prepared throughout the night and had gained official status in the early morning hours. After the ceremony, as the guests were attending the official lunch, Intelligence Chief Aminata approached Traoré. "Mr. President, we caught 2 people. One is an assassin disguised as a waiter, the other, you won't believe it, but it's ceremonies director Ahmed Kaboré. Both have been working for French intelligence." Traoré wasn't surprised. "Kaboré? Interesting. Which plan did he know?" "The original plan. The ceremony in the main hall. He didn't know the new plan." "What about the others?" "Nothing happened in the garden. But in the main hall, our teams checked it. They found a bomb under the podium. A powerful explosive, remotely controlled. It was set to explode during your speech." Traoré took a deep breath. "Hamidou's warning saved my life. And of course, your quick work. We've only caught 2 people, Mr. President. But those who organized the conspiracy are still out there." "I know, Aminata. This is just the beginning. But today, we saved not only my life but also the future of our country." During the official lunch, Traoré closely observed the French and American ambassadors. Both looked uncomfortable. Delacroix, in particular, was constantly checking his phone. After the meal, Traoré returned to his private office. Captain Zongo entered. "The assassin we caught has talked, Mr. President. He's a French mercenary, former Special Forces member, hired by the DGSE. And he confirmed the name of the operation, Operation Mirage." "What does he say?" "The plan was this. During the ceremony in the main hall, while you were speaking, the bomb would be detonated. In the chaos, the pro-French General Ouedraogo would stage a coup. The nationalization decision would be cancelled, and new, more generous agreements would be signed with French companies. Traoré leaned against his desk. So General Ouedraogo is also involved. Arrest him immediately. It's already been done, Mr. President. What does Ahmed Traoré say? Here's a more complex case. He's been working for the French for 2 years. He's been relaying all palace information to them. Ceremony plans, security protocols. And tonight, when we changed the plans, he must have informed them. Yes, but he was too late. We had already implemented the alternative plan. Traoré thoughtfully moved toward the window. Outside, people were celebrating the nationalization decision in the streets of Ouagadougou. National flags were waving, and drum sounds could be heard. "Captain," said Traoré, "we're going to make one more change to the program. Tonight, I want to address the nation. I'll explain both the nationalization decision and the conspiracy we averted today." At 8 p.m. in the evening, Burkina Faso National Television broadcast Ibrahim Traoré's speech live. Traoré, in his official uniform, spoke with a determined expression. "Dear people of Burkina Faso, today is a historic day for our country. Our decision to nationalize our gold mines is a major step toward our economic independence. However, we could have paid a price for this decision. Today, an assassination attempt was foiled in our palace." Traoré explained all the details: the bomb, the assassin, the coup plan. During the speech, photos of the captured assassin and Ahmed Traoré were shown on the screen. "This conspiracy was not just against me, but against all the people of Burkina Faso. Those who refuse to accept that the colonial era is over, who continue to claim rights over our resources, should know that Burkina Faso has now awakened." Traoré continued his speech in a determined tone. "I also have a message for the French and American governments. Stop interfering in our internal affairs. If you want to share resources fairly, we are ready to sit at the table. But threats, blackmail, and assassination attempts will only increase our resistance." Traoré ended his speech with these words: "Tonight, I invite all our citizens to celebrate our economic independence. Burkina Faso's future is bright, its resources belong to its people." The next day, the international press carried the developments in Burkina Faso to their headlines. The French government described the assassination claims as unfounded. The American embassy repeated its policy of non-interference in internal affairs. However, Delacroix and Thompson were called back to their countries for consultations. General Ouedraogo and other coup plotters were arrested. Ahmed Traoré made a full confession, admitting that he had been working for French intelligence for years. A week later, Traoré spoke with his trusted source in Paris, Hamidou Diallo, through a secure line. "Hamidou, I don't know how to thank you. If it weren't for your warning." "Don't thank me, Ibrahim. I did my duty. I am a Burkina first, then a diplomat." "How is your situation in Paris? Are they suspicious of you?" "Not yet. But I can't stay here for long. Perhaps it's time to return to my home, Ouagadougou." "Our door is always open, my friend. Important duties await you here." A few months later, Hamidou Diallo was appointed to a high-level position in the Burkina Faso Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The process of nationalizing gold mines was completed, and the country's economy began to visibly improve. French companies reduced their presence in Burkina Faso. Some sanctions were applied, but new trade agreements with China and Russia balanced this pressure. Ibrahim Traoré began to be referred to as Africa's rising new leader. His economic independence policy became a source of inspiration for other West African countries. One day, while Traoré was looking through his old phone in his study, he found the message that came at midnight that night: "Cancel the project." 3 simple words had changed the fate of a country. The phone call he received that night had saved not only his own life but also the future of all of Burkina Faso. And from that moment on, Traoré made it a habit to check his phone one last time every night before turning it off. Because sometimes, what changes destiny could be an unexpected message that comes at midnight.